Good evening. Happy Saturday. My name is Debbie Jacobs, and I wanted to do a video this evening. To talk about like what I'm up to and what I'm doing, and why I post videos. On YouTube. I also have a Facebook page that I post videos, and basically, I consider myself a champion for happiness. Happiness in this lifetime, and happiness for all, including those living with mental illness. For many years, most of my adult life, I lived with depression, anxiety, and bipolar. And through a series of traumatic events, I ended up leaving mental therapy after over 10 years, maybe like 13 years, being in the mental therapy world. And I stumbled across a life coach, and she turned me on to healing. And healing is all about self-improvement, spirituality. And in 5 years, and it was a very tough 5 years. I mean, I really was committed and determined. It did not come easy, but it came. And basically, I was able to heal myself back to my beautiful, authentic self, the self that I was meant to be, not my hurt self that I was living in depression, anxiety, and bipolar. And basically, it was through changing my thinking and changing my coping skills and accomplishing healthy self-esteem that I was able to awaken my beautiful, authentic self. And basically, through the process, through the spiritual awakening, that is the healing process. That's what you accomplish, and it takes the ego death. You have to get out of the ego self, because there's two versions of self. One is the hurt self, and the other is the healed self. The hurt self is the ego self. So you have to be out of the ego self to awaken the healed self that you accomplish with your healing, and that's the positive thoughts, healthy self-esteem, and positive effective coping skills. Because we need the positive effective coping skills to create happiness, not unhappiness. And in our ego self, we have negative thoughts, negative, ineffective coping skills, and that leads to low self esteem. So, of course, we're not feeling good about ourselves. And, what I like to describe, depression, anxiety, and bipolar as a sum of my flaws. I had a lot of flaws. I had abandonment issues and trust issues and inferiority complex, and I had anger and anxiety and worry and insecurity and beating myself up. I had a lot of negative, behaviors. Those are our flaws that stem from our wounds. And those are our negative, ineffective coping skills that create upset and unhappiness. So here I am in my depression, anxiety, and bipolar, getting angry, taking things personal, feeling insecure, feeling bad about myself. And that's the existence that I'm creating. I did not have effective thinking and effective coping skills. And that's why I ended up with mental illness, not because of a chemical imbalance. There is no chemical imbalance. And basically, through my healing process, and I accomplished amazing results. Now I am looking to spread the word of healing and happiness, because after healing comes happiness. You have to get to the finish line, and the finish line is positive thoughts, positive effective coping skills, and healthy self-esteem. That's the finish line, and then you live your life from there in your freedom and happiness. That's what I call it. Freedom, and happiness from living, in the prison and unhappiness of mental illness, of depression, anxiety, and bipolar. So basically, and let me tell you something: getting out of ego is a process. It is very, very hard to accomplish. You really have to know about behaviors, about ego, about hurt, about punishment, about reactionary behaviors, are your flaws, your ineffective coping skills. You really have to have mastery to get out of ego. But it's through the mastery that you gain in healing that you can accomplish getting out of ego, and you accomplish mastery of self, mastery of the mind, mastery of your emotions, and you're operating effectively with your positive, effective coping skills. And this is what I want to help people do. I want to help people get, their ego self, because it is a challenge, and you need someone, I feel, who accomplished it. You're not going to be able to accomplish it, and if you try and do it on yourself, first of all, you stay in ego longer because you're doing it yourself. So you're not supposed to be doing it yourself. The way to get out of it is through coaching. Like literally, that disarms the ego or disables the ego, because the ego doesn't like to be told what to do. The ego doesn't like to be wrong. The ego thinks it knows everything. The ego doesn't listen. The ego wants to do things their way. So when you have a coach, you change everything. They have to listen to you. They have to be wrong. They have to do things my way, which is really their way. My way is the authentic way of doing things. Their way is the hurt way of doing things. So I share with them more effective ways of being, and that's the way that becomes their way. And through coaching, it works out perfectly, because you need to kill the ego anyway, and coaching is the way to do it. And by the time that coaching is done, they are totally coachable people. And this is ego who doesn't like to be told what to do and doesn't like to listen. So that's quite a transformation, and it's really worth it. Lives, and I created an app that reprograms the subconscious mind with positivity. We go through all your thinking and all your behaviors and your words. We go through everything. It is a transformation of self, from the unhappy ego self to the happy, beautiful, authentic self. Nice qualities, and no bad side. And this process, actually, that's what it does, is it just addresses your bad side, not your good side. You don't need to address the good side. The good is good. The good isn't the problem. The problem is the bad. Your anger, your fear, your insecurity, your worry, your anxiety, your guilt, your shame, your jealousy, whatever, your flaws, all your flaws that are created out of hurt, that are reactionary. And what that means essentially is, my dad never taught me to, be anxious. He never said, go to the store, be anxious, and ask the guy for $1. He never taught me to be angry. He didn't say, Dad, be angry. He never said that, and he certainly would never tell me to be insecure or uncomfortable or whatever. These are reactionary behaviors that developed out of, organically out of the situation. When you keep using fear to motivate a child, fear into their foundation of their being, and they're going to live with the fear their whole life. Parents don't want that. That's a parenting mistake. So we got to deal with it. We got to deal with getting rid of the fear so you're free of it. And then when you are free of it, you don't pass it down to your kids, and you've healed the bloodline. And now you're on the positive side and on the side of happiness. And it changes your parenting completely. No more punishment. No more parents are always right. Healing. To accomplish your healthy self-esteem, you need to be invalidated. You need to be wrong to develop self-validating skills. And guess what? Your kids need the validation. They need to be right, not parents. So that's a flaw in the system. And basically, I can take people through the process of healing because I created it and I accomplished it. I mean, I went from depression, anxiety, and bipolar. Like, that's legit. You know what I mean? That is like real, and I changed my coping skills, my thinking, and awakened my beautiful, authentic self without even really, knowing what I was getting into, because I didn't know what I was getting into. I know that I wanted my, happiness and love, and I was willing to work on myself to achieve it. And I did work on myself. I didn't achieve happiness and love, but I did achieve the cure to mental illness. So I have to, pursue that to make sure that people are able to live in their happiness and not their pain. And I am looking for people to work with, because I need to have it proven that I have the cure. And I am working with a couple of people, and it's going great. I'm working with somebody who has depression, anxiety, and bipolar, and we're making progress, And I'm working with someone who has paranoia, anxiety, I think depression. I'm not sure, but she has her pain. She's in her pain, And the point is to not live our life in our pain, because healing, getting out of our pain, positivity, awakening is all an option now. And I speak of one particular way that is different from everything else that is out there, and I'm the one that has the results, that is has the cure for mental illness, and has the awakening, and my own enlightenment. So I really would like to work with people to help them in their healing, and really to make positive change in the world. Get more positive thinkers. We don't need negative thinkers. Negative thinkers is in your pain. And it takes to go from a negative thinker to a positive thinker. It takes the spiritual awakening, and Debbie Jacobs created it. I created the process of getting rid of your negative, ineffective coping skills and your negative thinking, and learning new positive, effective coping skills and positive thinking, because our coping skills are generated by our thinking. So if I'm thinking negatively, I'm gonna react negatively. I'm gonna respond with a negative behavior. Like if something is going on in my mind, I'm getting angry, then my coping skill is going to be anger. If something's going on in my mind and I'm getting scared, my coping skill is going to be fear. We don't want those as coping skills. We want positive, effective coping skills. So if something is going on in my mind and I'm in a situation that's scary, I'm using positive thinking, and I'm using courage. If something is going on and I would usually feel insecure, with my positive thinking, I'm feeling confident. So we're replacing negative, ineffective coping skills with positive, effective coping skills, and the way to do that is to change our thinking from negative to positive. And that's something that I have. That's the process that I created also, called the Mastery of Thought, and I'm looking to help people really make positive change in their life to benefit the quality of their life, their happiness, their relationships. I mean, across the board, it's a transformation of self. So my name is Debbie Jacobs, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube. And if this resonates with anyone, I would love to hear from you. You can shoot me a message, and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much. Have a good night. Bye bye.